Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is me again, Insane Gorilla, and welcome back to my channel. This is What If Deku was a space marine. Now, I hope you enjoyed the first episode, or not episode, first part of this What If. Now, you may have a bit of confusion of why I put, Deku in the hospital. Well, for starters, it's kind of basic biology. Your body doesn't automatically grow an extra lung, an extra heart, and an extra set of intestines. It's just feasibly not possible. Not unless you're an organ donor or an organ harvester, which you somehow manage to grow or have someone pushing in your extra organs for you to grow inside your body, just to rip you open and harvest them later. It is still feasibly impossible and completely immoral. So that's why Deku got sent to the hospital, because A, his parents were concerned, and B, it's his body sort of reacting to all of a sudden these extra organs just suddenly growing within him. But I'm getting off topic. Deku's parents go to deal with a particular problem. Now, you may be asking about what I said about the extra, the extra Astartes equipment. And I'll get to that when I feel like it's a relevant point. But you just have to know that the stuff that was sent because warp shenanigans happened, and time had passed incredibly quickly as Hisashi was sent hurtling through the warp. Completely unprotected, so technically he should become a fucking demon at this point. But something stopped it from happening. Now, I'm rambling, so I'll get on with the actual video. But I do hope you all like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace. Okay, I'm going to have to use Aldera High. There's a bit of a backdrop here for a bit. So, Deku's parents, Inko and Hisashi, go to the Arctic. Where I'll not say who they fight, but they fight something that is very, very hungry. And there was quite a bit of them. After Inko and Hisashi return, they are a little bit shell-shocked from such a enemy that showed virtually fuck all regards for themselves. Both of them remember the orcs, but even they had a bit of common sense to basically say, oh fuck, run. These two are too tough for us, run. Even orcs have a bit of a self-preservation. But these things, nah, that was just... something was just not right about these fucking things. So Inko and Hisashi go back to the house. Inko is the first to get out of her combat armour. During the fight it got dented. She got battered around a bit, as well as Hisashi, but both of them pulled through it and survived. So Inko returned to the hospital, and what she found shocked her. Izumi was standing in front of a man with a black mask. He was incredibly tall, a black suit. The man seemed to be evilly cackling as if he was trying to take something. And Azumi was holding up this purple barrier. Now, it wasn't like Slaneshi or anything like that. It was pure Eldari Psyker might. She was using her mind to hold back this individual. Now, we all know this person to be... I forgot the man's name already. Shigaraki, I think. Or Shigaraki, or whatever. Oh yeah, that is actually his name. Because I believe he gave Tomura Shimura his actual first name, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. The man AFO pretty much cackles, saying your quirk is quite exquisite. I have never seen such a powerful quirk, and it appears my absorption cannot actually take it. You will be a fine specimen for my Nomu project. Izumi basically screeches, saying, you're not taking my brother, and you're not taking me, you cyborg freak. Now, of course, AFO found that insult completely laughable. Like, sure, he's had insults before, but that was a new one. And he honestly couldn't help himself but laugh. Even complimented her on that insult. But he then pumped up his arm filled with another quirk, and with one strike shattered the energy barrier and was about to grab hold of Izumi. A hole in his hand opened up, only for Inko to charge in with lightning and zap AFO out the door. What I mean by out the door, I mean out the window. Now you may be saying, well, Inko is extremely powerful because she's a partial Farseer, so she's incredibly strong anyway. So AFO is pretty much dead and gone. Wrong. Inko, after all, had been fighting a particular enemy that had the ability to sever her particular abilities. As we all know, the enemy that can do that, aka the Tyranids, or the Nids, if you want to be short on their name. So Inko's power was coming back, but it was coming back a bit slowly, considering of how long she had spent fighting those things without her Psyker abilities. So she's not as strong as she should be, but she's strong enough to send the guy flying. And when she looks out of the window, the man is just standing on the ground, looking up at her, his mask broken, so she could just see his face, or his mouth, as he has a bit of a quirked smile. How fascinating. It appears you're just as well trained as that girl. How fascinating. A pity that you weren't in any hospital that I could control. How exquisite. I'll make sure to find you soon. One day. Sooner or later. The man disappears in a portal. Inko immediately checked on her daughter, who had fainted because of, well, the Psyker backlash. And considering she's only 12 years old, yes, if you've all forgotten, Izuku and Izumi are both 12. So, both of them are quite strong for their age. Well, Izumi is. That is, in the Psyker abilities. Izuku, on the other hand, yeah, we can kind of gather he's already developing his Space Marine extra organs and all that. After the police turned up, Hasashi turns up and wonders what the hell happened. Pro heroes were there, including a blonde man called All Might. And pretty much Inko explains about the man with the black mask. When All Might hears AFO, basically, targeting her children, and hearing him say something about the Nomu project, to say he was concerned would be an understatement. We all know, if you've watched the anime / read the light novel, we all know what the Nomus are. Now just imagine a Eldari Nomu, or a Nomu with Eldar features, such as their Psyker abilities, or a Nomu that has virtually got the body of a space marine. Just think about that for a minute. Both scenarios. I'm pausing for you guys to actually think about that. You done thinking about it? Good. Bad springs to mind. So, All Might and one of his detective friends, Detective Hasegawa, I think that's his name, decide that Inko and her family must go somewhere else. Somewhere where AFO cannot get their hands on it, well, get his hands on them. This is where Aspire gets contacted by David Shield. Now, David Shield, obviously, we know Island and all that. But David Shield... Sorry, I'm facing the wind, so over here some wind brushing past, so I do apologise. David Shield, he pretty much got very interested in the whole idea of, well, going into space. He wanted to, try and get, ships up into space and make, colonies on, the moon, Mars, you name it. He wanted to make stuff out there so humanity could, live. If something happened to Earth, at least humanity wouldn't be wiped out. And he wanted Aspire to be one of his major partners for this, considering that Aspire only hires quirkless people, gives them a living, gives them equipment to put them on par with the best of the best heroes. He wants Aspire to be his major partner. None of these greedy corporations that just want to use, well, David Shield's hard-earned work and money just to ruin it all with their corruptness. Because obviously there are some companies in My Hero Academia that are incredibly corrupt, such as the Meta Liberation Army. And some other groups. And so, after Asashi had pretty much got all of what he needed from his wife, he takes Izuku and Izumi, and he goes straight to Island. Straight up he asks David Shield, he would love to join David Shield and his project if David Shield allows his family to basically go to Island and live on Island until Izuku is strong enough. Now, David Shield has no problem with this whatsoever. In fact, he welcomes them both, all four of them, with open arms. This is where we're doing a bit of a time skip. Because after this, Izuku had woken up. He was stronger, faster, tougher, a lot more intelligent. So he was on par with his father and some of the very best out there, such as Nezu. And he was training with his dad in the ways of the Astartes. This is all in complete secrecy. So nobody knew that Izuku was training as a lethal killing machine that is basically being taught hand-to-hand combat, how to fire a bolter, all that kind of jazz. And when Izuku finally finds the Space Marine power suit, Izuku was obviously shocked. To be more precise, he sees the Terminator armor from 30k. There's no 40k power armor just yet. I'm still thinking about whether to keep this kind of power armor or getting the 40k power armor in the Lunar Wolves colours. I'm just going to have to find that particular image. Anyway, back to the story. But Izuku also sees the ordinary power armor, like the tactical marine power armor. He sees it and he wonders, what kind of armor is this? Was his dad planning to make this kind of armor for the Quirkless, which Izuku thought was quite nice? Unfortunately, his mother, father, and his sister walked in trying to find him. And when they saw the power armor, Izumi was amazed. She found it quite elegant and beautiful. Inko found it a little bit repugnant, but this was her husband's power armor. His Terminator power armor. It was heavy and bulky and slow, but incredibly dense. And Izuku basically asked, "Can I wear it?" Hisashi raised an eyebrow, asking, "Son, this weighs 250 billion tons. This is the heaviest power armor the Imperium has." Obviously, Izuku over time found out that his father was from somewhere called the Imperium, but Izuku and admittedly Izumi didn't really believe them, because both found out that their parents, well, their mother was an alien, and from her came Izuku and Izumi. Now, Izuku will admit that he found himself a bit girly because of his smoother features, and he's admittedly more graceful movement. A bit like Izumi. Izumi and him have a bit of a graceful movement, like they're flowing through water, like fish. Elegant and quick. And Hisashi and Inko pretty much both explain their origins. Then and there in this armory where there's just a regular suit of Space Marine Lunar Wolf power armor and Lunar Wolf Terminator armor. Hisashi ends up explaining this quite a bit. I won't go into the lore of the Imperium. You can go and watch a lore channel for that. This is a what if. So, a few hours after Hisashi had started to explain, Inko had explained the Eldari race. How they ruled the galaxy several hundred millennia ago, where their father comes from, as well, or the galaxy where their father comes from. She pretty much explains all of her species and how humanity and the Eldari never really truly got along. There were always spits and spats between their races. And sorry, there's a dog barking off in the distance. I don't know if you can hear him. But anyway, with the way humanity is, the Eldar and humanity were never going to get along. How Inko and their father got along was, well, let's just say this. Inko and Hisashi both had their disagreements, and both tried to kill each other at one point. Like, literally. They were going to literally fucking murder each other because they couldn't stand each other. Obviously, because of Hisashi having this whole Xenos are a bad thing. Yeah. You can most probably gather that Izumi and Izuku both kind of called their parents idiots for basically having racist issues with each other. But eventually Izuku managed to convince his father to let him wear it. The power suit, that is. And just in time too, because a beeping sound started going off. That was another alert saying that there's something approaching from, well, the warp. Something from the warp is getting spat out again. This time it is in an Amazon rainforest. So Izuku gets in the Terminator power armor while his father gets in the regular Space Marine armor. It was a bit of a snug fit for Izuku. For some odd reason he's still growing, but that's because he's now around about 14. So he's basically nearly in that canon age of where he's going to be going into UA. So Izuku flexes his power cores and holds the Storm Bolter, or the early model of the Storm Bolter we get from the first Space Marine game. Yes, I am talking about the one that you do hold with both hands, and it spits out more fire quicker than you can pull, well, quicker than you could say, Bob's your uncle. And, well, let's just say this. They get there, and what they see disturbs them. They were not your regular people. Well, not your regular Xenos. No, they were something worse. They were cultists. There weren't any Space Marines, but there was a Psyker who had fallen to the corrupting powers of chaos. And it appears they were in some sort of ritual to try and summon their dark, well, demonic masters. Now Izuku, he charges, well, he kind of just stomps forward, his father walking up with him. And when these cultists see them, they say, "For the great gods." And green energy blasts from their las rifles that were somehow more corrupted to turn them green somehow. Don't ask how. Started opening up. Now, these energy bolts just ping off Izuku and Hisashi's armor. Izuku just, without hesitation, raises his Storm Bolter and just all you can hear is brrr as the Storm Bolter opens up. Not only does the Storm Bolter open up, but Hisashi's regular bolter does as well. So basically they watch, well, Izuku sees cultists go up in bits. Inko and Izumi both, while Izumi is being trained in the field, both start using their psychic abilities to combat the Psyker. And since Inko had started gaining more of her power back, she could easily counter some of the Psyker's attack. But like everything in the 40k universe, something always goes bad. The Psyker was stronger than what people thought. So strong, in fact, that he managed to rip open a tear into the warp. Several small pink horrors of Zinch managed to crawl out, Izuku, using his power claw, severed a cultist clean into 3 different pieces. His arms his arms coming off along with half of his torso being ripped completely open. He ends up being sucked into the portal because the portal opened up right behind him and Asashi was too far away to stop him from getting sucked in. So Izuku said, "Don't worry, I'll find you again." He gets sucked clean in. And he, doesn't know how long he spent in a strange purple and red with greens and blues space. But he does see some very dangerous creatures trying to, possess him. And for somehow and some odd reason, he's able to hold them off. And when Izuku wakes up, he feels the ground rumbling. He hears shots. He sees red bolts of energy, and his power armor slowly stands. He starts walking towards the, unknowingly to him, friendly lines. As he stomps around, he sees a massive fucking tank with at least 12 barrels of hell pointing in every direction, firing. And this is where he meets his first demonic Astartes. Because from the sky comes a raptor, corrupted by the dark powers. His black armor with horns on his head looks at Zuko and looks surprised as he says through his now mouthpiece from his helmet, "What is a lunar wolf uncorrupted by the great powers of chaos doing here?" Izuku looks at him. He raises his bolter and without hesitation, he opens fire. He does not hesitate. This guy does not look friendly, and he wants him to die. Now, since this is from the 30k universe, the demonic armor still is strong, but you have to remember this is also from the 30k era as well, even if it is heavily corrupted. And this is Starty's, Chaos Marine, completely taken off guard from seeing a former lunar wolf still in his pristine white armor. The bolter shells explode on him, tearing him literally limb from limb. He didn't even have a chance to scream before he was completely ripped apart and became nothing more than sludge on the floor. And so Izuku, feeling rather queasy, considering that A, he had just killed multiple people, and B, he just got sent through some sort of weird portal, and C, he just wound up somewhere with ginormous towers, Gothic-looking architecture, and there's a fucking battle raging nearby. He's not particularly in the best of moods. And who can really blame him? I wouldn't. He has no idea where he is, what planet he's even on, or even if he's in the Milky Way galaxy. But he stands and he walks, his feet pounding against the floor, as the guardsman sees him and says, "Over there, Astartes!" What kind of armor is he wearing? As a squad of Imperial soldiers walk up to him, they just see, this giant Astartes in Terminator armor, that they don't know is Terminator armor, stomping up to them. 1 minute. As I was saying, before I go down for tea, the guardsmen run up to Izuku, Like a whole squad of them. As Izuku basically slams his feet to the ground because the armor is so heavy, the Imperial guards kneel down and say, "My lord, it's good to see you." Izuku's weirded out because they're calling him Lord. His helmet kind of muffles his voice, but it comes through clearly. "Rise. No need to bow to me." "Understood, me lord. I'm Lieutenant Averick Snyder, sir." "Lieutenant, brief me on what's going on." "Aye, my lord. The heretic Astartes have fortified a position in front of us. We cannot proceed without your assistance, my lord. The heretics are also launching air raids. Our Volkai cannons are trying their best to keep them out of the sky, but they are just too fast for us." "Understood. Are there any fellow Astartes in the area?" "Negative, my lord. We have not heard of any Astartes arriving in a few days. Well, for a few days now. Which is kind of peculiar, my lord. Where did you come from? What chapter are you a part of?" "I'd rather not say. We're a secretive chapter," Izuku would say, trying to keep his knowledge that his father was part of the Lunar Wolves. And since that Chaos Astartes called him out by being a member of the Lunar Wolves, and how come he wasn't corrupted by the ruinous powers, Izuku was not going to take any chances. So, he kept his hereditary a secret. "Very well, my lord," the guardsman would say. "I want you and a group of your men to come with me. I don't care how many people you bring, just bring them. Bring some heavy weapons if you have any." "Aye, my lord." You. Go and get another 2 squads from the rear ranks." Yes, sir. What about me, sir?" "Get another squad and get heavy weapons." "Yes, sir. Portable?" "Portable." So the 3 troopers ran off. Izuku looked at the massive vehicle as it fired 12 guns of hell. "Yes, my lord. The Baneblade too." "No. Tell the Baneblade to slowly start backing up." "My lord?" "We're going to bring our enemies into a kill zone. We're going to lay an ambush. The Baneblade, as you say, will be bait." Aye, my lord. Have you got any other heavy weapon vehicles?" "Yes, sir. 2 squadrons of Lehman Russ tanks." "Get those Lehman Russ tanks in position. I want them in a particular pattern. 2 Lehman Russes facing 2 different directions. I want them both to go 2 different directions and cut around. I want them to start pushing as soon as the enemy gets into our ambush position. When they attack, we will be attacking the enemy's front lines from the side." "Peculiar tactic, my lord. It will be done." Heretic aligns. A Chaos champion would be walking, clearly agitated. "Ah, we should have taken this sector by now. Kill another 500 cultists. I want those demons here." "As you wish, brother." Is a Chaos Marine. Chaos Marine with the markings of corn would walk and begin slaughtering 500 cultists. Hang on. Where was I? Ah, yes. As the Corn Space Marine goes to kill those 500 cultists. The Chaos Champion feels a strange feeling, like something isn't right. The Baneblade was backing up. Strange. The Imperials were on the attack. This was perfect. They had heavy weapons ready to pulverize that damnable machine, but now it's retreating. Where are they getting this order from? It can't be from the regular loyalist lackeys. Something was not right. The Imperials were on the attack, and all of a sudden they pulled back. Oh, that sudden move really grinded his demonic gears. He was so looking forward to rending that thing to pieces and sacrificing the crew to Khorne. After he lopped their heads from their bodies, that is. Oh, he had a great plan. Even the great changer of ways would be slightly impressed. And the rotten decay would satisfy Nurgle. And the great Slanesh, oh, the torturous pain he was going to make those Imperial lapdogs feel. His chances of ascending to demonhood had just dropped rapidly due to this movement. He could hear the 500 cultists getting slaughtered by the Khorne Berserker. Wrangling one of them was hard enough. But now he possibly has a chance of a new strategy. Yes, you think about it. With Izuku, on the other hand, he's waiting for the other squads to arrive. When they do, he sees quite a few heavy weapons, from rocket launchers to heavy bolters. Good, this could do. Alright, I want two heavy weapons teams, or two heavy weapons with each squad. My lord, this is a combined arms tactic. Only for the infantry. Follow me. Izuku starts banging his feet as he starts walking in the opposite direction. My lord, the front lines. We're going around, soldier, Izuku would say, not giving him a chance to say anything else. He had to put a bit of a firmness to this, like he knew what he was doing. Izuku had no idea, really. He was just making this up as he goes along. Very well, my lord. You heard him, men. Two heavy weapons people in each squad. The heavy weapons team pretty much do attach themselves. It's a bit of a strange thing, but what are they going to do against their lord? They then spend the next several hours following their lord as he loudly bangs himself across the battlefield, going through alleyways, having no idea where he's going, because he has no idea about this city. He just takes turn after turn after turn, just following the noise of battle. And miraculously, somehow, thank the Emperor, he managed to get behind the enemy lines with nobody being found out or spotted. Either the enemy was extremely relaxed, or they were off somewhere else trying to coax the Imperials. Now, Izuku doesn't know anything that's going on. He just knows that humans are fighting humans. Corrupted people are fighting non-corrupted people. He has to protect the ones that are non-corrupted. Then he looks back to his the lieutenant that he had already forgotten the name of, considering it was all in Gothic and he couldn't understand Gothic to save his life. Luckily, when he was speaking Japanese, it was translated into Gothic. So nobody knew he was speaking a complete different language that was not Gothic whatsoever. His father must have put a translator in. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Izuku then nods his head and says, "Launch the attack." The lieutenant nods and uses a vox, telling the Baneblade to fire its mortar. Get the enemy Astartes' attention, or heretic Astartes' attention. Pull them into the kill zone. They hear the explosion from the mortar shell being fired. Izuku watches through his Auspex scanners as the shell lands right in the middle of a bunch of people, clearly vaporizing them within a second. They didn't even get a chance to scream. All he could see was their bits and chunks of flesh and blood and sinew as it gets scattered. Izuku holds back his vomit as he watches Astartes with giant axes and chainswords rushing out with tons of cultists. Izuku just whispers, "Perfect." He looks to the sergeant, or the lieutenant again, and nods. The lieutenant nods and uses the vox to say, "Lehman Russ tanks, advance, flanking maneuver on heretic Astartes." They could hear the Baneblade chugging away as its heavy bolters begin going chunk, 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 as they fire high-yield explosive bolts. As several heretic Astartes, the worshippers of corn, either get cut in half or turned into mulch. The Lehman Russ tanks move to the sides of buildings, come around, line up their heavy cannons and bolters, and let rip. Izuku nods to the lieutenant as he starts crashing his way through the side lines. Now, on these side lines, there are tons of fucking cultists. Like, these cultists were on their way to the very front where the main attack's coming from to give reinforcements. Only to see, Izuku to jump down, crushing at least 5 of them underneath his bulk as his head smashes one of their heads in. His Stormbolter lifting up. Now, the whole heretic cultist group, which is around about 58 strong, is lined up perfectly. He levels his Stormbolter and he pulls the trigger. His arm doesn't even buck and move as the Stormbolter rips through cultists. Legs, arms, and body parts all go flying as the explosive rounds hit. The loyalists, or the loyal guardsmen, rush into the trenches, surrounding their lord in a protective barrier of their own bodies. Heavy weapon crews set up. They see heretic Astartes running towards them. They open up. Their heavy weapons fire. Raptors start falling from the sky. Izuku already has alert pings, so his whole body moves. He somehow manages to get his hand high enough where he can just start firing above himself. He takes out 3 raptors by somehow managing to hit their engine or hit their jump packs. It sends them crashing into a few others. And some of the rocket troops look up, back away a bit as a heretic Astartes lands, only to have their face blown off by a bazooka. Izuku swings his power claw, slicing one Heretic Astarte's head clean off, piercing another, then putting his storm bolt to his face and blowing it to pieces, and throwing the body straight into another Heretic Astartes. Now, with Izuku in the middle, firing in every which direction, the Chaos Champion takes notice, because he was going to send his raptors all the way to the front to support the front troops. But apparently they got distracted with something else. He sees 3 squads of Imperial troopers with a Lunar Wolf Terminator in the middle. Impossible. The man jumps out of his command room, smashing into a cultist on his way down, crushing him, or her, depending on which, as he grabs a power sword and starts walking, his corrupted flesh, shrugging off any rogue laser, las rifle round as he walks. The last raptor falls, and there's around about 20 casualties on his side. A whole squad was wiped, just leaving their heavy artillery unit behind. So he puts them in another squad. As they tighten around him, one of them shouts, "Heretic Astartes incoming!" Izuku turns his bulky frame around, considering he had his back turned to the Chaos Champion. The Heretic Astartes stops. "Hazashi," the man growls. "After all 10,000 years, you return to your brothers." The Imperial Guardsmen look in between Izuku and the Chaos Astartes. Izuku would say, "I am not him, traitor." Izuku raised his storm bolter and fire. The Chaos Astartes takes the hit multiple times, then looks back at Izuku, his wounds healing. "You cannot hide from me, Asashi. I know who you are. You will join us eventually, brother. I am not your brother. I don't even know who you are, traitor. And I do not care anymore. You're just an enemy to the Imperium. And I will crush you like the pathetic whelp you are." The Heretic Astartes hisses in anger and bloodlust as he runs towards Izuku. "Kill every cultist you see. This one's mine." "Yes, my lord." The guardsmen run behind him, going to wipe out any other cultists they see. The Chaos Astartes swings his power blade. Izuku grabs it, pulls it out of his literally rips his whole arm off. The Chaos Astartes just regrows it back. Disgusting. Izuku would throw the weapon away and bring his his storm bolter down, only for the Chaos Astartes to punch it out of his hand. Izuku then punches the Astartes smack in the face, making him stumble back. As the lightning claws, or lightning hand, whatever it's called, I think it's a lightning claw, rakes across his corrupted flesh, the Astartes howls in pain as he grips where Hazashi had raked his lightning claws through his chest, cutting off both of his hearts in one fell swoop. Impossible. Why would you kill your brother, Asashi? You are not my brother. You think I am my father. I am not. Izuku takes his helmet off. Without him realizing it, his head had gone completely bald. He used to have green hair, but now he's completely bald. He almost looks like a Pacific person. Little Horus. The Astartes falls backwards, his eyes wide in shock, thinking that he's seeing little Horus. I don't know who he is either. Izuku lifts up his heavy boot and smashes the Chaos Marine's head clean in, turning it into mulch underneath his ironed boot. He turns around and puts his helmet back on, manages to grab his storm bolter, shake off any grime and dirt on it, as he begins stomping his way. He gets to where his new compatriots are, and he could see several casualties on the Imperium side. 20 on the first assault, 15 on this one. His storm bolter lights up the remaining heretics as they disintegrate from bolter fire. The guardsmen see their lord. My lord, the lieutenant is dead. A chaos sniper managed to get him. Keep your head down then. Are you in command? I'm Sergeant Cavrius, sir. Well, Sergeant, keep your head down. Yes, sir. The sergeant quickly ducks behind cover. Luckily he did, because a bolt round, or a sniper round, pings off the barrel he hid behind. Izuku saw where the shot came from and lit up the sniper. Status report. Several of our heavy infantry units were killed. But the heretics are retreating from this sector. They won't be for long. Bring the radio man. I want to know how the ambush assault went. Already got a report on that, sir. The enemy is in full retreat from this sector. We are wiping out any enemy forces and any corrupted individuals. They can be rehabilitated. They can be shown a different path than what their evil counterparts have done. My lord, that is an order. Yes, my lord. Put them in therapy. Help them regain the Emperor's light. The guardsman nods. Yes, my lord. I'll put that through to command right now. Very good, son. Thank you, my lord. Izuku doesn't know what he's just done, but it puts things in motion, something that he had no idea was going to happen. As he thinks, little Horus. What did he mean by little Horus? And who is this Horus person? Was he a soldier, or was he something more? Izuku stomps away as he gets a report from from the Vox operator saying that the ambush force is now approaching. The Baneblade commander wishes to have a word. Very well. Where will the Baneblade commander meet me? On top of his Baneblade, my lord. He'll be coming down to see you personally. Very well. Izuku would walk off towards the Baneblade. As he gets close, boom! The main cannon would destroy the heretic's base of operations. as the commander would get out of the Baneblade. I have to admit, a woman's voice would say, shouting down at Izuku, I never thought I'd see an Astartes with that kind of armor coloring. She gets down a set of ladders from the top of her Baneblade to the ground. She was a stocky woman, not fat, but well muscled. She looked a bit like a grease monkey, Izuku had to admit. A bit like Melissa Shield, but grittier. Didn't seem to take jokes too well. I take it you're the commander of the Baneblade, Izuku would say. Well, isn't that frickin' obvious? Emperor's teeth. You Astartes know how to make an entrance. Sorry for that. Can't tell myself where to land these days. Don't mention it. It's nice to see an Astartes. We've been hollering out for High Command to send any kind of support. We got word that Astartes were approaching the planet, but none of them like you. Indeed. Izuku would kneel down, being on perfect eye level. This shocked the commander. Hell, this shocked all other people, really. They'd never seen an Astartes bow, and they've fought alongside several Astarte companies before. But this was new. These guys, well, the ones they fought beside never knelt down to be on perfect eye level with them. Well, apart from the salamanders, but they never got really any chances to fight next to the salamanders. So seeing an Astartes getting on his knee to be eye level with someone was a new experience. Huh. Fascinating. Real fascinating. For an Astartes, that is. I never thought you guys could bow or even kneel down to us regular folk. All life is precious, miss. Irashi. Hana Hasashi. Welcome. Well, isn't this a surprise? Izuku Hasashi. He gently takes her hand in his fingers that doesn't have the lightning claws. The woman looks at him shocked. Hasashi? I didn't know a space marine remembered their last name. You could say that my father and you and I are distantly related. Wow. So a relative of mine becomes an Astartes. This is quite the honor. Indeed. Tell me, Hannah, how long have you been fighting for? 12 years? 12 years on this dust ball. Dust Bowl is a sprawling city. This is a hive city. We only recently managed to take back a few sectors. The heretic Astartes had taken the city not too long ago. Well, over 2 years ago now. We fought hard to keep the city the first time. 10 years fighting in city. 2 years ago they took it. This is the first time in those 2 years we've been able to take back a whole entire sector. Out there it's nothing but a hell zone. Izuku looks towards a giant wall that was busted in. A giant mech clearly had broken it down, considering its dismantled corpse was being dragged away by heavy lifters. I see. Is there anything I can do? Yes. You can tell me how many generations it's been since, well, my ancestor was in the Astartes. I heard that he used to be a great Astartes. I remember my father. He's fighting still. Wow. I'd love to meet him. He sounds such like an amazing man. is the strongest I know, along with my sister and mother. Ah, awesome. Is your sister a guardsman? No, she's not. I can't tell you this, because I am scared of what you may think of her. Trust me, there's nothing I've ever heard that wouldn't make me pissed. Izuku takes his helmet off, and everybody sees his bald head as he smiles, his voice turning more gothic, slowly over time. It is easy. Me and her are half human. Our mother is an Eldar. Everybody in hearing range looks at him in shock. An Eldar? A damn Xenos? She's not that bad. In fact, her and my father operate quite well defending the world that I come from. Xenos scum! Am I? As far as I'm concerned, the only Xenos that need to be eradicated are the orcs. And any other Xenos that threatens the Imperium. My mother does not threaten the Imperium. She works with us. If that makes me a Xenos lover, then so be it. But I will defend humanity, even with my mixed heritage. Zuko puts his helmet back on. And if I have to prove that from combat, so be it. A lunar wolf doesn't leave the Imperium behind. Get back in your tank, Commander. We have more heretics to expunge from this world. Hannah would sneer and spit. Whatever you say, Astartes, traitor. Think of me as a penance, then. A penance for what has happened here. Izuku starts walking off, his boots thundering against the ground. Guardsmen! We march! We take back every sector from these heretics, and we will make sure that they pay for every foot of ground that they have tainted. In the Emperor's name, we will not falter. The guardsmen that didn't hear this shout, "For the Emperor!" And they start walking alongside Izuku. As they hear the fox crackle, as they hear the words, Imperium forces take heed. As multiple drop pods hit the ground, just ignore the green armor, okay? As the blue insignia of the Ultramarines would be shown, for the Ultramarines have arrived. The Ultramarines step out. They see the white armor of an Astartes. They take this into account, as the Astartes, in its old-fashioned Terminator armor, walked past. The fellow Astartes follow. Following this Astartes, not really caring right now, as Izuku says, "For the Emperor and Imperium, we will not let these heretics taint his ground." As the Ultramarines shout, "For the Emperor." The battle for this planet is just beginning. And that's where I'm ending it, people. Hope you like, comment, and subscribe. See you on the next one. Peace.